you ready for some football? Yeah, we got that last night. Opening night, NFL season, Thursday night football. And that's just one of the things that I've got to talk about. You know it ain't the only thing. The Stephen A. Smith Show in the house. Holla at your boy. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. As always, before I get into anything, I always like to take a moment to thank my subscribers, my followers, etc., because our numbers of subscribers have now eclipsed 780,000, okay? We're roaring. We're climbing to the top. Here we come. Thank y'all so much for the love and support. Keep bringing it, and I'm going to keep on bringing it. We also have over 2.5 million downloads on iHeartRadio over the last couple of months or so. So the love just keeps on coming from all different directions. Can't thank y'all enough. Keep it coming, and I'm going to keep on coming, and I'll just leave it at that, okay? We've got a lot of stuff to get into. I'm going to have Ronnie 2K on the show a little bit later on in the show because he's got those new 2K ratings, 2K25 ratings out, and I got to talk to him about some of his, I don't know what the hell he was thinking on some of them. So we're going to have that conversation. Make no mistake about it. But that's going to pale or at least take a backseat at this particular moment to what's transpired last night. We got to get started with the start of the National Football League season and a big-time opener last night in Kansas City. Home of the reigning, defending two-time Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs took on the Baltimore Ravens at home in a game that featured two-time league MVP Lamar Jackson of the Ravens and, of course, Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs. The game came down to a late drive with the Ravens in the red zone with several chances to punch it in. Lamar Jackson missed. I'm going to say it again, missed on two key throws on that drive, but he eventually hit tight end Isaiah Likely in the back of the end zone for a score that would have put them within one. John Harbaugh was going for two. He was going for two, but guess what? The score was nullified because Likely's big toe was on the line. For anybody that knows, okay, or you don't know, there was an NBA game that took place years ago, the playoffs, Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo was going up against Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant was putting on an absolute show, pulled up, hit what we thought was a three, but his damn big-ass toe was on the line. You see that right there, okay? He put him up, 109, 110, 109, but his toe was on the line. And so as a result, because his toe was on the line, it wasn't a three, it was a two. Ultimately, Milwaukee will walk away winning the game and ultimately winning the championship where they took out the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. One could easily argue had Kevin Durant's toe, or foot rather, been smaller and his big toe wasn't on the line, they win the game and, of course, they go on to win the championship. But that was not meant to be, and it never happened. Nevertheless, we transitioned back to football where the Baltimore Ravens had their chances. Now, I know on this particular day, you got to look at the Kansas City Chiefs and you got to say to yourself, damn, they're the reigning two-time defending Super Bowl champions, and who the hell is going to beat them now? They got this kid here, Xavier Worthy. He was on this show, on the Stephen A. Smith Show, live from South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, when they had their convention there months ago. He was a guest on the show with Coach Steve Sarkisian from the Texas Longhorns, okay? So, I saw this guy run a 4.21 in the 40, okay? This brother's something special, okay? Xavier Worthy is special. I don't know if he's Tyreek Hill type because Tyreek Hill is a bit quicker. So I would still pick Tyreek in a 40-yard dash where I'd pick somebody like Xavier Worthy in the 100-meter. Similar to if Tyreek Hill went up against Noah Lyles, okay? Can you get off to that quick of a start? Yeah, you possibly have a chance in the 40 because that's how quick and powerful Tyreek Hill is. But over the long haul in the 100-meter, you're going to go with somebody like a Noah Lyles. In this case, I'd go with somebody like Xavier Worthy. Nevertheless, him being on this squad with Patrick Mahomes throwing him the football, with having a teammate like Rashee Rice, who caught 7 receptions for 103 yards, with having the future Hall of Fame and the best tight end in football, my brother from another mother, the one and only Travis Kelce, not Mr. Swift, Mr. Travis Kelce, okay? This is football season. Ain't no Taylor Swift other than in the press, in the stands, in the box, in the suite, okay? She ain't on that damn football field putting on a show. That's Travis Kelce, okay? Let's get that out the way. We're going to look at that. But this kid Worthy right here, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 47 yards. pretty much big-time performance. Caught a touchdown pass, had one flick to him running around the side, running around, and ultimately scampering in the end zone, blowing by everybody in the process. Lamar Jackson is another story, 26 of 41, 273 yards, an interception, sacked just one time when he'd been sacked an average of 3 times going up against Kansas City, ran for 16 times with 122 yards. He seemed to be spectacular if you're just looking at the numbers. The problem with Lamar Jackson is you can't just look at the numbers. You got to look at the outcome. When the game was on the line, he had no interceptions, by the way. I meant a touchdown. He had a touchdown, no interceptions. But when you look at Lamar Jackson, here's what you ultimately walked away with. When it was time, he couldn't make the necessary throw. Call it fundamentals, call it mechanics, call it whatever you will. Lamar Jackson, as big time as he is, as much of a superstar as he is, as much of an improved passer as he is, there's levels to this. And I looked at Patrick Mahomes last night, 20 or 28, 291 yards, a touchdown, and an interception, sacked twice, had a 101.9 quarterback rating while Lamar Jackson had 90.8. Here's what you saw from Patrick Mahomes. I saw Rashee Rice drop a pass that could have been a touchdown. I saw Travis Kelce drop a pass. I saw at least 3 passes drop. Juju Smith-Schuster as well. I saw that. His numbers could have been better if they caught the damn ball. Remember, this same team, the Super Bowl champions, that led the league with 44 drops last year. But nevertheless, you look at that record right there, 1-5, Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. And you had a chance to erase that. And you missed Lively in the left corner of the end zone. You overthrew him. He's 6'4", and you still overthrew him. And almost got him hurt because he came down so hard after being shoved in the back. All right? Luckily, he was in the game to catch that last pass from you. But the biggest miss was Zay Flowers. Coming from the left to the right backside of the end zone. Wide open. Nobody within 7 yards of him. And Lamar Jackson missed him by 5. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. It was that awful of a throw. It was that big of a miss. Now, ultimately, he tried to make up for it because he connected with Likely in the back end of the end zone, but his big toe was on the white marks. And as a result, the touchdown was called off. Game over. It was the last play of the game. Kansas City escapes 27-20. What should we walk away with? One mode of thinking is Kansas City, who the hell's going to beat them? Because that offense is so damn explosive and the defense ain't no joke. And everybody can't run the football and just befuddle Steve Spagnola's defense in Kansas City the way Lamar Jackson can. Everybody can't do that, so what the hell do you do? How you going to beat Kansas City? That's one mode of thinking to walk away from. Here's my thinking. I don't know if they win the game or not because even after scoring the touchdown, John Harbaugh was calling for them to go for 2. He was calling for them to go for 2, not 1. And so it's entirely possible that they could have gotten stopped on a 2-point conversion and lost the game 27-26. That is entirely possible. But here's the bottom line. The superstar that is Lamar Jackson, with the game on the line and in his hands, made 2 bad errant throws that we all know Patrick Mahomes would have made. And so as a result, this man that you're 1-5 against, that appears to be your nemesis, that you're swearing up and down, is not necessarily that dude. He's not the black cat running around your franchise. Okay, he's not your Achilles heel. All right, he's not that. That same dude that you're 1-5 against is standing in your way yet again. I saw Lamar Jackson running off the field and talking to the Kansas City Chiefs fan and saying, "Yo, I'll be back. Oh, I'll be back. I'll see y'all again." And that's a great attitude to have. But he's going to have to do better. And by the way, the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to do better. Their defense was a bit discombobulated. There were several missed assignments. Don't get me started on the offensive side of the ball with the illegal formation calls against them. So you had that going on. And then when you look at it back to their defense, I'm just saying to myself, look, Patrick Mahomes had a damn good game. You're going to have to figure out a way as a defense to be a bunch of rough riders with your new defensive coordinator, or he did a good job. But they still got a lot of work to do. And on offense, 5 rushes for 13 yards in the second half for Derrick Henry. Now, I know that when he was in Tennessee, he was accustomed with them lining up behind center, not being in the shotgun. and doing that. And that taking up about 21% of the Titans' offense. In Baltimore, most of their running attacks are based off of the shotgun. They're not behind center. That's not what Derrick Henry is accustomed to doing. Who knows what kind of effect that's going to have on him? Not to mention the fact that they got an inexperienced offensive line. So the level of protection that you'd like to see for Lamar Jackson may be compromised to some degree. It's a lot to think about, y'all. It's a lot to think about. And I'm just telling y'all right now, you got to be careful about all of that. You really, really do. Derrick Henry, 13 rushes, 46 yards. The longest run for the day, 9 yards. He's 250 pounds. He runs 22 miles an hour. You got to get him the ball more. And if you're not going to get him the ball more, why did you bother getting him at all? You should have got another receiver. Should have got another receiver. But either way you slice it, no matter anything that I've said, the biggest storyline that you walk away from this game is that Lamar Jackson, the superstar that he is, still comes up a touch short whenever he's going up against Patrick Mahomes. How in the hell is Baltimore ever going to win a Super Bowl championship in the Lamar Jackson era if he can't find a way to outduel Patrick Mahomes, particularly in the biggest moments? That's the question, y'all. That's the question. I'll be back with more NFL talk in a minute because I did have a one-on-one with Jerry Jones, by the way. We'll get to that, but not before I present this to you, courtesy of Prize Picks. Okay, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for Stephen A's Sports Picks. Everybody knows that watching and following sports is my entire life. Okay, it's my entire life practically. And with the NFL season finally here, I need to be right there in the middle of all the action. But how do I do that exactly? There's only one way. I use Prize Picks. That's how. Of course I do it. You see, Prize Picks is the largest fantasy sports platform in all the land with more than 3 million members. You just choose 2 or more players and then pick more or less on their projected stats for the game. And get this, sign up with the code SAS and PrizePicks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup, okay? You don't need to win your lineup to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. All you have to do is play a $5 lineup on PrizePicks and you'll get $50 instantly, all right? But guess what? I'm going to do this in a special way today because I got a guest with me for this one today. Joining me today for this segment is Prize Picks ambassador himself, Trent Atya, also known as Book It with Trent. Trent, how are you, man? I want to make sure. Did I get that last name pronounced correctly? Did I pronounce that your last name correctly?
You did great, Stephen A. Thank you for having me on, man.
Man, please, the pleasure is all mine. Listen, man, I'm told, you're known as the guy who everybody goes against with your picks. Now, is that true? I want to make sure. Is that true?
That is indeed true, Stephen A. That's how people know me. They know me as the Fade God.
But here's the thing. Just a couple of days ago, yesterday, if I remember correctly, you got every damn pick right. And you're the guy that they go against? I don't know how smart that is. I mean, do you think it's smart for them to go against you?
I mean, what you saw yesterday, I hit a 6-man on Prize Picks. That's once in a blue moon. And I just so happened to get, all 6. So that was huge. But sometimes you got to let the kid win. But I'm pretty bad at this, to be honest with you.
So in other words, what you're trying to tell me is the dead clock is right twice a day. That's what you're telling my audience right now. The dead clock is right twice a day.
Exactly. I get that in my comments every day.
All right, man. My producers also tell me a couple of things before we get this started. They tell me, are you you live in Dallas, Texas? Are you a native of Dallas, Texas?
Yes, I currently live in Frisco, right next to the Dallas Star where the Cowboys practice.
Well, yeah. I was there a couple of days ago with Jerry hanging out at the Star. I was having a good time. I wish I could have met you in person. But here's the deal. You're a Detroit Lions fan?
I am. I'm really high on the Lions this year. I've been backing them ever since, they went that 0-16 season. I have a thing for feel-good stories. I love Jared Goff. I love Amon-Ra, and I'm high on them this year. I see them winning the whole damn thing, Stephen A.
I got to tell you, man, I'm getting emotional right now because I ran across a resident of Dallas who's not a Cowboy fan. I mean, it's beautiful.
No.
This is a beautiful moment. How did that happen? How did you be in that area, living in that area, and not be a Cowboy fan when I've always said if a nuclear bomb dropped, there would be 3 survivors, rats, roaches, and a Cowboys fan. They're everywhere. How the hell did you pull off not being a Cowboy fan living in Frisco, Texas?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Southern California where I had no football team growing up. And then,
Okay.
in 2018, the Rams came and, I just couldn't fall in love with them. And I didn't want to bandwagon as they won the Super Bowl the next year. And so I went to TCU, and all my friends are Cowboys fans. And I despise the Cowboys and I hate Cowboys fans. So I'm right there with you, Stephen A.
Okay, see, I knew we get along. You my brother from another mother. That's what we gonna go with that from now on, Trent. Let's get right to it, okay? Let's get right to it. First up, Caleb Williams playing the Tennessee Titans more or less than a half passing yards, 0.5 passing yards. Here's my deal. How the hell can you not have more? What's going to happen? You're going to get hurt on the first play of the game, a la Aaron Rodgers, getting hurt on the fourth play of the game and not really doing anything. As long as the man is playing 2 minutes, he's going to have more than a half passing yards, for crying out loud. I'm going with more on this, Trent. What about you?
I mean, it would be pretty insane if I were to miss this pick here. Half a passing yard, Caleb Williams. You got to put it in your lineup this week. It's a free square, basically. So just get the boost on that and move on to the next leg, because it's definitely going to smack.
All right, I can't imagine anybody going against you. The MO is to just go against whatever Trent says, and most of the time you're going to win, right? I can't see anybody going against you on that one. We simpatico on that one. We together. Now it gets a little tricky. Bills quarterback Josh Allen playing the Arizona Cardinals. More or less than 249.5 passing yards. It's Josh Allen. I got to go with more. I'm of this mindset, though. I'm leery on this, Trent, because there's no Stephon Diggs. I think you got this kid, Coleman, coming out of college. He's your rookie. He's got a great personality. He's caught the football world by storm. I get all of that coming out of Florida State. My attitude is, you lose Stephon Diggs, that's a big loss. There's a lot of changes that have taken place in Buffalo. I don't have them winning the AFC East. I may not even have them going to the playoffs. The only reason I'm considering it is because Josh Allen is a stud. That doesn't mean he can't throw for more than 249.5 yards, though. I'm going to go with him doing just that. More on this one, especially since it's against Arizona, who I'm not sold on at all. Your thoughts, Trent?
I actually like the square, Stephen A. I thought you were going to take a different angle here with Josh Allen, but I love the passing yards play. I'm so high on Josh this season. I actually want to run this by you. I have a really big bet this year on Prize Picks. I have $10,000, Stephen A., on Josh Allen, less than 12.5 interceptions. I think he protects the ball all year. He doesn't have Stephon Diggs anymore, which limits, that deep threat, which was like half of his interceptions last year. But I'm so high on Josh. I think he protects the ball a lot this season, and I love his passing yards. I was going to take that for the season long, but I decided that he's going to go less than 12.5 interceptions. Would love to hear your take on that, but I love the passing yards in week 1.
Well, let me say this to you. We both agree with more passing yards in week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, but that's where we part ways, my brother. I can't roll with you on that. He's a gunslinger. He's a guy that's a risk taker. And here's the biggest thing, Trent. He loves hero ball. He wants to come out there and he wants to be a guy that, okay, all right, I'm going to do this. And you know something? I don't have enough weapons. I got to make it happen myself. This guy might not be open, but I'm going to throw it open. I'm going to make him open. I'm going to throw the ball. I'm going to take these chances. I'm going to take these risks. You don't take that mentality away from somebody like a Josh Allen. Listen, I'm not saying he's not going to have a damn good year. I'm saying he's going to make mistakes because he's going to take chances, because the personnel that they've surrounded him with are going to force him to take chances in order to have chances to win football games. And I think he's going to throw more than 12 interceptions. I'm not giving you that. Let's go to the next one right here. Let's go to the next one right here, all right? CeeDee Lamb going up against the Cleveland Browns defense, more or less than 83.5 receiving yards. 83.5 receiving yards for CeeDee Lamb. Here's my thing. He's back in action. He's got fresh legs. He didn't participate in the preseason, didn't participate in training camp, got his money, okay? No receiver is paid more than him outside of Justin Jefferson. He's going to go out there. It's not like you're going to be Dak Prescott and just be able to rely on Brandon Cooks and Ferguson and a bunch of third-string wide receivers named Jalen, who most people don't even remember their last name. You're going to have to throw the ball to this brother that had over 1,700 yards and about 135, 136 receptions last year. I'm going to go with more, even though Cleveland's defense is no joke, and I think they can make some noise. CeeDee Lamb is no joke either. I think he's going to get more than 83.5 yards, Trent. I'm back at you with it. What do you got?
Okay, I respect it. You're not worried about that Browns defense. That is the real deal, like you said.
I'm worried about it, but I think that you still, if you're Dak, you can still throw a whole bunch of passes. That don't mean your completion percentage is going to be high. It don't mean you ain't going to be throwing from a deficit. It don't mean it ain't going to happen during garbage time. I just think that ultimately you're going to see to it that CeeDee Lamb gets enough touches to accumulate more than 83.5 yards.
I can't hate it. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, he's the GOAT. He's definitely one of the best receivers in the game right now. I can't say I'm taking the less than on that, but I would be a little bit weary just considering it's game one, week one on the road against one of the best defenses in the game. But hey, you're Stephen A. It's all you, man.
So you agreeing with me? You agreeing with me?
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's probably gonna go up more than for sure.
This is why everybody should book it with Trent, because he on a roll right now. He on a roll, rolling with Stephen A. right now. Last but not least, I think this is one right here. Tyreek Hill going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary. More or less than 69.5 receiving yards. It's Tyreek Hill. It's the cheetah. It's Miami and their offense. It's Tua in weather that's projected to be above 70 degrees. I'm going to go with more on this, Trent. I think that's an obvious one right there. It might have been the easiest one other than Caleb Williams. I'm definitely going with more on this. What about you?
I can get behind it. I love that you took the Green Goblin approach here. Don't be afraid to take those if you're on Prize Picks. They help a lot. And I can get behind this one. You know, the regular projection instead of the Green Goblin, I would be a little bit weary because I think the Jags are going to keep this game close, which should help Tyreek, to be honest. You need a close game here so they can keep continuing to air the ball out to Tyreek. You got a short spread, week one jitters. I think it's going to be a close game, which is going to force Tua to air it out to Tyreek. So I think this is a great pick, Steven.
So you've agreed with me on every pick I've made today. You realize that, right?
Which isn't the best sign. Not the greatest.
That isn't the best sign. You better be right. I better have converted you. It better not be the other way around. That's not good for my name, my brother. It's not good for my name. Let me ask you this real quick. So you really think, first of all, let me just remind the audience right here, Stephen A's picks, Caleb Williams, more, Josh Allen, more, CeeDee Lamb, more, Tyreek Hill, more. And my man Trent, book it with Trent, agreeing with your boy Stephen A right here on all four picks. So we appreciate that. Getting back to you and your Detroit Lions. Super Bowl, bro? Is that emotion? Is that strictly emotional? You really serious? You think this is the year for them to win it all?
Oh yeah, I'm all in on the Lions. They've got a great defense. They've got the weapons on the offensive side. And Laporta, don't sleep on Laporta. He's going to will this team to a lot of wins, a lot of yards for Goff. And I'm all in on the Detroit Lions. They sold out short last year. I'm buying all in Lions stock this season. I see them in the Super Bowl.
Why did they lose in the NFC Championship game last year to San Francisco in your estimation?
I mean, San Francisco was just such a more complete team, and they were destined to win that Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan made so many mistakes in that Super Bowl. But in that game specifically, you know, if I remember correctly, the Lions were up a lot early, and Shanahan just outcoached them, you know, in the second half. But I think they've grown, they've matured. Their head coach is fired up like he is every single year. But I'm just excited to watch this team, man. And I know they're excited to get on the field and prove a lot of people wrong and win that division and make a deep run in the playoffs.
They should have ran the damn ball more. They got away from what was working for them for the first, for the vast majority of the game. But then ultimately, San Francisco got lucky. They came on strong. And you're right. They were in position to win the Super Bowl against Kansas City as well, but ultimately blew it. When you if you're going to talk about them going to the Super Bowl, who do you think they'll meet in the NFC Championship game?
Man, NFC Championship game.
Everybody's talking Philly. Some people talk Green Bay. Some people talk San Francisco. Obviously, people are telling us don't sleep on the Rams and don't sleep on Seattle, even with the new coach that came over. McDonald came over from Baltimore as its defensive coordinator. So it's a lot of interesting storylines. But I think, me personally, as much as I love the Lions, I got San Francisco and Philadelphia meet for the NFC title. You know, and San Francisco ultimately getting back because I think they've been knocking on the door too long. Eventually, they got to kick it in. But I can't poo-poo the Detroit Lions pick because to me, Detroit has arrived and Dan Campbell deserves a lot of credit for changing the culture of that team. But now everybody knows they're here. So what are they going to do now that they're the hunted instead of doing the hunting?
Exactly. I see Philadelphia making it to that NFC Championship game. I think the addition of Saquon Barkley is going to just do a lot for their offense and their play action and their run game and even their pass game too. I just think they're very complete, just like the 49ers. I'm so out on the 49ers, Stephen A. I lost so much money on them in the Super Bowl. I still have a bad taste from it. They sold that game completely. And I don't know
Well,
how
how much?
they
Hold on, man. How much money did you lose?
I got to tell you the story, Stephen A. So Prize Picks gave me the opportunity for a chance to win $1 million in the Super Bowl. I don't know if you remember that promotion that they did,
Okay.
but I was one of the guys who had a chance to win $1 million. And my entry, I needed 4 picks, and it was Mahomes rush yards, it was Kelsey yards, it was McCaffrey 2 touchdowns, and Ayuk less than receiving yards. Everything hit, Stephen A. Except I needed one more touchdown from Christian McCaffrey. And he scored the first one. So I was sitting pretty for the whole game. Right. I had, 3 quarters for him to get in the end zone again. And Shanahan, man, in the overtime just couldn't feed him the ball. He was open on that last play, and it was sickening. And essentially Christian McCaffrey, Shanahan, and the Niners cost me a chance at $1 million. And I'll never let that down. I'll never get over it. It took me all this time to finally get over it, but I can't stand the 49ers. McCaffrey, I can't look at him the same way anymore. It was right there.
Well, whoa. But wait a minute. I can understand you being disgusted and hating on San Francisco, but that's because of Kyle Shanahan. It ain't McCaffrey's fault that they didn't get him the ball.
No, it's definitely not McCaffrey's fault. It's just hard for me to even look at his name on Prize Picks and not have, memories of that moment. But it's definitely on Shanahan more than McCaffrey. He did his job. I could have took his yards, receptions, anything else but that. But yeah, that was a really bad break for me. But new season, new opportunities. I'm ready to go.
Listen, you see the tagline right there. Follow Book It with Trent right there on social media. I appreciate you, my man Trent, right here on Stephen A. Smith Show over the digital airwaves of YouTube and iHeartRadio. Thanks again, Trent. Really appreciate it, man. You take care of yourself. We'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Stephen A. We'll be seeing.
All right. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube and iHeartRadio. Let's get to my one-on-one interview with Cowboys owner extraordinaire, businessman extraordinaire, the one and only Jerry Jones, at his headquarters at the Star in Dallas, Texas. I want to thank Jerry, first of all, for giving me an hour of his time. He didn't have to do that. He actually gave me more than an hour, and actually he would have given me more than that. I just had to rush and catch a flight for crying out loud. But his hospitality obviously knew no limits, and I'm very, very grateful and honored to him allowing me to sit down and interview him, because that's not something he does very often in terms of one-on-one interviews. Let's get that out the way. You may recall Jones bought the Cowboys in 1989, at the time for $150 million. It's now 36 years later. The franchise, or I should say his 36th season, 35 years later, the franchise, that is the Dallas Cowboys, is now worth well over $10 billion, more than double the value of most of the teams in the National Football League. So before we say anything, we got to salute his success as a businessman. The man knows how to make money, plain and simple. It's no way around it. But check out Jerry's response when we're talking about football. Specifically, when I asked him about the 28 years that have passed since his Dallas Cowboys made it to an NFC Championship game, let alone a Super Bowl. Take a look.
Well, I would say the one most responsible for it is the guy they're answering to, me. And that's what I've said from the very beginning. There's no slipping away from it. The buck stops. It does stop. It stops right here. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean much if it's just for show. Mm-hmm. Or that doesn't mean much if there's not some tears and some sweat and blood that goes with it.
What about those who argue it's not a consequence, because at the end of the day, you're not going to remove yourself, so you don't really have to pay the price for whatever mistakes you make, because you're not getting rid of you, as most of us wouldn't get rid of ourselves.
Well, of course. But that is absent a little deal called paying that price. Mm. You think for 1 minute that the way our season ended last year, there isn't anybody on this earth that bothered any more than me. Mm. No one. There's been no one that looks back that really can live with how long it's been since we've been with the Super Bowl. Do you think that I literally do go in here and say, well, but how many people have won 3 Super Bowls? Mm-hmm. Okay, do you think I say? Of course I do not.
Right.
I do not say that. I look at it as that was then, this is now. But I do look at it that way, in that sense that 10 years ago, we obviously didn't win a Super Bowl. We had a different coach. That was then, this is now. Let's go do it now. Now, I've done this and things away from football all my life. And I have discarded, I have gone in different directions, and I've gone in different businesses. The guy in the mirror is the man that I change out.
Fair enough. First things first, and I want to make sure that I educate folks about something. Maybe I'm stating the obvious, maybe I'm not. Billionaires don't have to talk to anybody. You don't hear that often. But they don't have to talk to anybody. Billionaires are cutting checks, not just cashing them. That's number one. They're usually the bosses. And as a result of that, they usually have people under them to point the finger at, to do interviews, to explain stuff to the masses, et cetera, et cetera. So when Jerry Jones not only showed a willingness to sit down with me, had no idea how long we were going to sit down, and literally said, I don't care. It's with Stephen A. that meant the world to me. It really, really did. Didn't stop me from asking him about CeeDee Lamb. Didn't stop me from looking in his face and telling him I think they were going to lose. Didn't stop me from looking in his face and telling him and questioning him about Dak Prescott. And really bringing to light whatever questions legitimately exist about Dak Prescott. Because I'm one of those people who side with Jerry when it comes to Dak Prescott and the apparent procrastination to get him signed. Now, in Jerry's world, his mentality is there's no rush. There's no punishment for taking your time to get the deal done as long as you get it in time when you need him and they're on the field for you. Fair enough. My attitude is simple. Dak Prescott, and they're trying to, I saw Brandon Cooks the other day going off pontificating about, it's blasphemous that people are critical of Dak Prescott. Stop it. Stop. Dak Prescott is a star caliber quarterback. He is big time as a talent who has led the Dallas Cowboys to multiple winning seasons and multiple playoff berths. And by his work in the regular season from September through December, Dak Prescott is worthy of the $55 million that Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love already got this offseason, if not more, which will probably be more because he's the last dude on the market who's going to get his money, and you know how that works. Don't act like Dak Prescott's some freaking victim because he's being raked through the coals for having won 2 playoff games in 8 freaking years. I mean, damn. You got to win 3 Super Bowls. You got to win 3 playoff games in 1 year to win a Super Bowl. This brother don't have him in 8. Come on, y'all. At some point in time, it's not right for us to point out, yo, man, you going to win. You got to win. You got to win it come January. You got the nerve to sit up there holding out and talking about if they don't sign you, it'll say something. If you do get signed, it'll say something. But if you don't get signed, it'll say something too. Well, if you don't get signed before Sunday season opener Dak Prescott, what's that going to mean to you? Is it going to mean they don't want you? Or is it going to mean they want to flash a light bulb in your head that says, damn, bro, can you show up and produce in January? Y'all think I'm bullshitting. When I pointed out, I was walking around the star. My team was there with me. I had some team members in there with me. Am I lying, fellas? I was there. I walked down the halls. I walked around the star. I walked to their practice facility. I went to their cafeteria. I ate a delicious cheeseburger in the cafeteria. I didn't grab it and leave. I sat down and ate, hoping the players would come in there. They got some podcast booth with Jefferson Walls. I was in there. I ran into Nate Newton. Couldn't find any of the players playing today. I wonder why. Ain't nobody running. You got to produce. It's not being negative or disrespectful, pointing out what you do on a public platform when you pick the career that allows you to perform in a public platform. Come on, y'all. Come on. As for Jerry, I'm just looking at some of these things. This is what he's done in the past. Signed independent stadium sponsorship deals with American Express, Nike, Dr. Pepper, and Pepsi. Once irked the NFL's licensing arm in the process on the grounds that these partnerships violated league-wide sponsorship agreements. The league sued them for $300 million in 1995. Jerry countered for $750 million in an antitrust suit a month later and won. That's Jerry Jones. I'm just looking at some of these things that this man achieved. AT&T Stadium featuring 80,000 seats, capable of expanding to 100,000 seats. A retractable roof and the largest high-definition center-hung video board in the entire league, 160 feet by 72 feet long and 53 feet by 30 feet wide. At least $6 billion NFL venues have opened in 13 years since the debut of AT&T Stadium by Jerry Jones. I mean, what can you say? A 510 square foot indoor practice facility that's called that sport facility. That's where we were. That's where we did the interview. I can't say enough. It's called The Star. Opened in 2016. Now includes the Cowboys headquarters, a 17-story luxury apartment tower, the Omni Frisco Hotel, a 300,000 square foot sports medicine center, Dr. Pepper's corporate headquarters, and 24 shops and restaurants, including a Nike store and several Cowboys-themed eateries. Also boasts the Ford Center, which is used for indoor practices, high school football games, and other events like the Country Music Awards next year. This is from a dude that borrowed money to buy the Cowboys and had $3 billion lawsuits in back-to-back years from 1989 to 1990 to 1991. The man bet on himself. They ain't winning no damn Super Bowl in the foreseeable future as far as I can see. But it don't mean that I can't respect this man and his business acumen. I'm going to give him that. I'm going to give him that. Okay, so now that week 1 is underway, I want to go ahead and make my predictions for the NFL season because I want to get this out of the way right now. Remember, every team goes into the year with renewed hope that it may be their turn to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, but only 14 teams get to make the playoffs. So here are my division winners and wild card teams for the 2024 NFL season. Let's keep this straight. The list is fluid. The list is fluid. All right? AFC East, I got the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is there for a reason, damn it. And I ain't going by what I'm going to see Monday night because that is the San Francisco 49ers he's going up against with that defense. I'm certainly not going to act like I'm going to see a big-time performance from Aaron Rodgers, who's had his troubles against San Francisco when he was in Green Bay. But I'd see a drop-off with the Buffalo Bills, and I don't believe in the Miami Dolphins outside of Miami. When there's 90 degrees like it's supposed to be this Sunday, I believe in them. When it's above 70 degrees, I believe in them. When it's below 70 degrees, I don't trust them. And when it's below 40, forget it. I completely give up on them because they're like 0-11 over the last couple of years or so. I don't believe in them. I'm going with the Jets to win the AFC East. To the AFC North, listen, they might have lost the game last night, but I'd be a fool to pick against the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is that dude. Derrick Henry is a stud. Zay Flowers and Bateman. Bateman had a spectacular catch, by the way, down the stretch to put them in position to score that winning touchdown that ultimately failed. But in the end, Bateman, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Derek Likely, they got some weapons at every position. They got to fix that offensive line, but I think the Ravens could do it. Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews at the tight end spot. I'm just telling you right now, I don't see how you could pick against the Baltimore Ravens, especially with Cincinnati messing around and still having not signed Jamar Chase. Also, and look, Cleveland's a team to watch because, to me, Deshaun Watson's career is on the line. I mean, he's been awful. You know, I don't want to say awful because he was 5-1 as a starter last year, but I'm talking about in comparison to what he once was. Because that same guy, he hasn't been around. He hasn't been around. I'm just looking at him right now, and I'm punching up some stats. I want y'all to know this, okay? This is the Cleveland Browns entering the 2024 season. Deshaun Watson's NFL ranks among 45 quarterbacks with 300-plus pass attempts over the last 2 seasons. His completion percentage ranks 41st. His yards per attempt ranked 36th. His passer rating ranks 37th. Now, he's made $91.4 million in cash for 12 starts for the Cleveland Browns in that span. You know how much that equates to, y'all? $7.6 million per start. per game. That's what it equates to. And what have you gotten for it? Cleveland got to look to Deshaun Watson and say, step the hell up, especially when you see what C.J. Stroud is doing with the Houston Texans, his former team. Speaking of that, that's who I got winning the AFC South, Houston Texans. You got Dell. You got Nico Collins. You picked up Mixon from Cincinnati. You got another running game. And now you got Stephon Diggs coming from Buffalo. With C.J. Stroud being that dude behind center. With D'Amico Ryans coaching his butt off the way that he does and having that defense uplift this game. Without question, it's the Texans. Got to watch out for Jacksonville to some degree with Trevor Lawrence, who's got his $55 million bag now and all of that stuff. But the Texans, that's the team to watch out for. And last but not least, there's nothing to talk about here, ladies and gentlemen. AFC West. You could say it's because of Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs easily, and that would be true. But the other side to it is, who the hell are the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos? Broncos are starting a rookie in Bo Nix. We don't know who the hell the Raiders are going to have at the quarterback position. Is it Gardner Minshew? I mean, please. O'Connell, whatever. Okay, stop. And then, of course, there's Herbert with the Chargers, and Jim Harbaugh is there's your new coach. But Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, all of these brothers are gone. It's clearly the Chiefs. Let's go to the wild card teams right here. I got Miami because they got the cheetah and they got Jalen Waddle and they can put up points in bunches. There's Denver with a test too when they had 70 dropped on them by Miami last year. I've got the Bengals resurrecting themselves because Joe Burrow's a stud, and I got the Cleveland Browns. I got 3 teams out of the AFC North and 2 teams out of the AFC East going to the playoffs. And the division winners for the South and the West. That's what I got. Now let me get to the NFC, okay? It's really, really simple here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going with the Eagles because the only competition in this division is the Cowboys, and I ain't picking the damn Cowboys. It also helps that they picked up Saquon Barkley. Still got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, the second best offensive line in football, some would say. I'm just going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think that Jalen Hurts is going to resurrect himself this year from 2 years ago because last year he nosedived a bit with 20, he had 20 turnovers or 20 interceptions 20 turnovers when he only had 8 the previous year. So I got to look at it from that standpoint. Easy choice for me here was the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's see who we got in the NFC North. It has to be the Detroit Lions. They were in the NFC Championship game last year. They were knocking on the door. I know we saw something from Jordan Love in the second half of the season. Last 8 games, 18 touchdowns, just 1 interception, completing 70% of his passes. I get all of that, but I still believe that the Detroit Lions are here, that Dan Campbell has infused a new culture in that team, and I think they answer the call and they respond to the challenge. And I think they're going to win the NFC North, okay? Let's go to the NFC South. Atlanta Falcons. Whether it's Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix Jr., when you got Bijan Robinson, when you've got the cat that they've got at the tight end spot, when you see some of the things that they're doing as a franchise, and you get a guy like Kirk Cousins coming off of his injuries, I get it. Ultimately, it comes down to who you're going up against. And I think the Atlanta Falcons get this division by default because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won it last year with a 9-8 record. The only thing good we could say about Tampa Bay last year was that they were 1 game better than Tom Brady was his last year there. And number 2, they did beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they did put forth a good showing against Detroit in the playoffs as well. But the Atlanta Falcons have the talent, and they should win this division. The NFC West, it's a gimme. It's the San Francisco 49ers. 4 conference title games and 2 Super Bowl appearances in the last 5 years. They still got C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey. They got Deebo Samuels. They retained Brandon Ayuk for $30 million a year. Okay, you've got George Kittle at your tight end spot, arguably the second best tight end in football behind Travis Kelce. You got an exceptional coach in Kyle Shanahan, and Brock Purdy has proven to be a damn good quarterback, due to get his $50+ million next year as well. So I look at it from that standpoint, and I got them winning the West. To go to the wild card spot, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sleeping on the Rams. Matthew Stafford could ball. You got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I'm going to roll with the Rams. I know Aaron Donald is no longer there. I'll be interested to see if he stays away forever. Like if this is it, he'll retire and stay there for good because he still is an all-world player right now. Let's see what happens with that. So you got that going on, okay? I think the Rams are a team to be reckoned with. Green Bay, I already brought up Jordan Love to you and what they did in the second half of the season. There's no reason to believe why they're not going to continue on their trend to some degree and battle Detroit for supremacy in the NFC North. And then, of course, there is the Dallas Cowboys. You still got Dak Prescott. You signed CeeDee Lamb, so he's going to be there. Micah Parsons is going to be on the field. Defense is switching to a 4-3, led by Mike Zimmer, a former head coach in Minnesota, who's considered a damn good defensive mind. Let's see what they do. They should be stronger and tougher and a bit buffer. And I think we'll see what happens with them. But I think they make the playoffs ahead of Seattle. I think they make the playoffs ahead of, a Tampa Bay. And definitely a Chicago who's got promise, but Caleb Williams is still a rookie. That's just where I'm at with it. Could be wrong, though. That's all I'm trying to say. Next up, I'll pick my WNBA Player of the Week. But first, a new NBA 2K game was just released. Joining me to discuss it is the man known as Ronnie 2K. I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but I'm about to find out. That's up next right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show over the digital airways of YouTube and iHeartRadio. I'll be back with more in a minute. I want to take just a few seconds to make sure everyone knows out there. It's the first week of the NFL season, and I couldn't be more excited. I've been waiting for this for months, obviously, as all of you have as well. You know why? Because the best part is that Prize Picks has got you covered. That's right. You see, while all these big-time games are happening, Prize Picks is going to make sure you have an opportunity to cash in. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy sports app where you can select 2 or more of your favorite players and then pick more or less on their projected in-game stats, okay? And it's not just football. Oh, no. It has something for every sport you love to watch, from Major League Baseball to the WNBA to tennis and everything in between. You can pick Mahomes, Angel Reese, and Juan Soto, all in the same entry, y'all. I make my picks and submit early, all in less than 60 seconds. And get this, sign up with code SAS, and Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't need to win your lineup to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. All you have to do is play a $5 lineup on Prize Picks, and you'll get $50 instantly. So go to prizepicks.com right now. Pick more. Pick less. It really is that easy. It pays to get paid on Cash App. Some people think paying overdraft fees is unavoidable. When you deposit your paycheck on Cash App, you can get up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. Having a little cushion to give you peace of mind at no extra cost is a very beautiful thing. If you could deposit your paycheck on Cash App and get up to $50 in overdraft coverage at no cost, would you? I'm talking about up to $50 in free overdraft coverage. A little peace of mind in case of oversight at no extra cost. Now that's something to think about. Stop sitting on the bench with people who can't play and get into the game with Cash App. So once again, getting paid on Cash App isn't just convenient. Cash App has got you covered. It pays to get paid on Cash App. That's money. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from the App Store or Google Play Store today.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Prove it tonight. That's number 1. You drive me nuts. You're talking junk. Must be on drugs. Number 2. Take notes. I'm about to educate you. What? That's impossible. I said zip it. Enough is enough. Number 2. Stop. I told you what LeBron's going to do. So disrespectful. Have no reason to be so disrespectful. To the league MVP. So disrespectful. To the mayor of South Bend. Disrespectful. Disrespectful. This man can defend. Average 32 and 10. Love Rick. Just stop. What?
Don't play yourself scared.
Nice. So disrespectful. Have no reason to be so disrespectful. To the league MVP. So disrespectful. To use your respect. Don't be disrespectful. You ain't making any sense. Congrats.
I actually like that. I actually like that a lot. I mean, I wish there was a bit more threes up in there, you know what I'm saying? But I'll take whatever I can get, y'all. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here. The new NBA 2K25 game was released this week, so I had to get into it with the man who is the face of 2K. He's got more than 1 million followers on social media. Of course, we all love him. We all listen to him. We all hear him. And we all see his ratings and his rankings and all of that other stuff. So who better to welcome to the show than the one and only Ronnie 2K himself? What's going on, big time? How you doing? How's everything?
What's up, Stephen A? I'm so happy to be here. And look, I want to get a highlight reel like that. That was sick.
I think it was. I just think that it would have been more realistic if you showed me draining threes, because I think I could do that with a little practice. I just need to get warmed up. I don't need to be thrown on a bed. I don't need to be thrown on a court with no warm up in a suit and tie like James Harden made me do years ago. Give me a few minutes to warm up and I could do some things. But outside of that, I liked it. What did you think about the video? What made you come up with that? What's up?
I mean, just dunking on fools, the 32 and 10, the whole thing. It was what a package. It was amazing. Hey, Stephen A., I don't know if you remember this, but you were my first celebrity game coach, and we had
I remember.
We had that chemistry going. It was great.
We talked about it. You didn't do so bad. You didn't do so bad. I was pretty just pissed off at my team, all right, for a little bit. But I digress. I'm not gonna summon bad memories and stuff like that, because I want to focus on you right now. Okay, the new edition of NBA 2K25 was released this week. I want to know, because the ratings are interesting. How do you come up with these ratings and these rankings? How do you do it?
Yeah, so there's 30 some odd mini attributes. Some of them are obviously based on the court performance, like inside shot, free throw percentage. All of that can be pretty easily translated. Then there's some stuff that's obviously off the court, like awareness, IQ, things that are a little bit less tangible. That's thrown into a formula and it spits out a number. And I'll tell you, Stephen A., that number has made a lot of people happy, unhappy. It's a full bag of emotions every time that we release the ratings.
Well, who's approached you? What player has approached you and was like, yo, bro, I don't appreciate what the hell you just did, having me ranked that low? Who's done that with you?
I mean, it happens all the time. You know what's funny? This year, it was Giannis, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, you're 97, you're getting married this week. What's going on? You're the third highest rated player in NBA 2K25. You should feel pretty good about that. But, if I could get his mind off of his wedding for a few days, if he needed that distraction, I got married too, so I know how that is. Whatever feels you, big man. It's really amazing that that caliber player, surefire Hall of Famer, is diverting his attention from his marriage to his 97 NBA 2K25 rating. It's crazy.
Well, see, the reason why because I love Giannis, and I know he's a superstar, and I know he's a very impactful player. The flip side to that, however, he does have trouble with his free throw shooting. He has a limited perimeter shot, and I think those two components should prevent you from being a 97, which is your highest ranked score. So how can he be tied with Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic for the highest score in your ranking when he's got those two liabilities to his game, Ronnie 2K?
I will say that he's probably the best defensive player of the three. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes,
Stephen
easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think that's a conversation. So you got three very different players at that top level, and three international guys, which is amazing. How amazing is that for the NBA? But three different games, right? They score in different ways. Giannis is just so deadly near the rim. Obviously, he extending the game, not so much, or not as much as the other guys. And, the way that Jokic does everything, especially on the offensive end, he's a magician with the ball. And then Luka, I mean, the way that guy scores, his playoff run was incredible. I know he was a little bit hurt, and he still was the best player in the playoffs. It's really remarkable. Those three guys are definitely deserving, and you could have a conversation about any of those three as the top guy.
Yeah, but we are having a conversation, Ronnie, because you're talking to me. I'm not you with 2K, but this is Stephen A. you talking to right here, okay?
All right,
so let's bring up Luka. Let's bring up Luka. Let's bring up Luka. I'll get to that in a minute. I'll get in that in a minute. Let's get some suspense here. But let me get to Luka. Love Luka. Luka's a superstar in this game. I know you know the game extremely well. So pace of play, and how that could do something for you, but that can inhibit the success of those around you, have to come into play. I know years ago it came into play with James Harden. So if that's the case, how come that's not coming into play with Luka, and you got him tied for the highest score at 97 with Jokic and Giannis?
Okay, so your issue is with Luka. So the interesting thing about that is James Harden was ranked very, very high for a long time. He actually had a massive drop-off in the rating for the first time in years, and he was pretty upset. Reporters asked him about it, and he was like, I don't care, but you could see in his eyes he was upset. Jokic, or I'm sorry, Luka, obviously, the pace of play, does he hold the ball a little too much? Maybe. But that individual
Yeah,
rating,
maybe.
okay, fine.
Maybe. Okay.
That individual,
You know he
that
does.
individual rating, that's all that matters. The guy is absolutely amazing with the basketball in his hands. And yes, he holds the ball too much. You're right, Stephen A. But what he did for that team, you know, I think it's warranted. Those three guys are
Okay,
the
well, let me ask.
top of the mountain.
Well, let me throw this at you. Since you bringing up the ball in his hands and how amazing he is with the ball in his hands and stuff. Well, he's got a teammate that's amazing with the basketball in his hands, and Kyrie Irving. Man, where you got him at? 15th or something? What is this right here? I'm like, come on, man. Kyrie Irving.
A 92.
A 92. A 92 is a nice break. Well, damn it, you went to the WNBA and you gave Caitlin Clark a 91 for crying out loud. Kyrie Irving could get a 92. Let's understand that, okay? But I'm just saying, Kyrie Irving is exceptional with the ball in his hands. How come you don't have him higher?
I mean, that guy does everything. I think that Kyrie was kind of hurt a little bit by sample size. I mean, this is no surprise to you, Stephen A. Like, he kind of disappeared in Boston. And I think that, like, moving over, he's kind of had a rejuvenation, but, like, maybe it's still a little work in progress, you know? Like, I feel like that's a candidate to get to the mid-90s by the end of the season, assuming that he can have duplicated success, stay happy. I mean, a happy Kyrie Irving is one of the best players in the NBA, undoubtedly. So
That's true.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see a real full season of a happy Kyrie Irving and try to get back to the Western Conference.
All right, I got specific questions here. When did you come out with this list?
We announced it about a month and a half ago, right after Summer League.
All right, right after Summer League, right? So the season completed, finals completed, then they had Summer League play before the Olympics, though, right? Before the Olympics, though, right?
Yep.
So we know you got Jason Tatum, top 8 before the Olympics. Where the hell you have him after?
I knew you were going to be fired up about Jason.
Come on,
he's
man.
Our cover guy. I can't go after our cover guy like that. He has supported our launch. He's been an incredible partner. He had a very, very talked about. I mean, look, what a cover guy to pick to have somebody talked about as much as Jason has been this summer, for good and for bad. I'm excited. I think that he's going to have a big chip on his shoulder. I've seen what you've been saying, Stephen A., but I think he's going to respond. I think he's going to have a monster season.
Ronnie 2K, I got news for you, bro. I'm not getting on Jason Tatum. I think he got screwed over by Steve Kerr. I was very upset at Steve Kerr. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I don't know. I want to know. I'm going to jump off of this for a second here and just talk pure basketball with you. Ronnie, I really had a problem. It wasn't even that he played limited minutes. 2 issues I had with him. One was that you couldn't find a second for him in not 1 but 2 games. And one of them was against Serbia, who you beat by 26. The other was, how in the hell are you a championship coach and you have a reigning NBA champion who's all NBA all first team 3 years in a row, the last 3 years, and you tell him before the game you don't think you're going to be able to find time for him? See, people missing that, Ronnie. Am I wrong?
Absolutely.
How you going to say that? Ain't that crazy?
Unbelievable. The guy just won a championship. You know he's ready to play for his country. I mean, he could have just taken the summer off, and just rode the SI cover, the 2K cover, and had a great summer with Deuce. To go all the way to Paris and have 2 games where he's sitting on the bench, and it looks bad. I mean, I felt for him. He's a good friend of mine. That's rough. We kind of put the cherry on top because he's got the same rating as LeBron and Steph. So that conversation continues through our game because he's like, oh, I've got the same rating as the older guys, right? It's unbelievable.
And listen, I'm a fan of Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr is a phenomenal coach. I think he was the only one that shouldn't be allowed to celebrate the gold medal. I think what he did to Jason Tatum was egregious. To sit up there and say that I couldn't tell him before the game, I don't know if I can find time for you. If I was Jason Tatum, I'd never want to see the man again unless I was going against his team and I'd be ready to kick their ass. So we got to watch. So we got to. Oh, let me tell you something. Oh, no, but he will see him when they go up against Golden State next season. I hope he drops 60 on Steve Kerr. I really do. Let me ask you this. You got LeBron James at 95. Now, the man is approaching 40. Doesn't he deserve a higher score than 95?
Yeah, I mean, the sample size obviously is unmatchable. 21 seasons as the king. It's tough because at some point we have to kind of project that the game's going to take a little hit. Look, 95 is an amazing rating. He's top 8, as you said earlier. We're still saying he's a top 8 player. I don't think we could put him into that top 3. And just so you know, Stephen A., the way that the ratings work is it's measured against all-time historic. So LeBron James in year 21 is a 95. The only 99 in the game, we're probably going to have one of LeBron's seasons as a 99 at some point, and probably Steph's unanimous MVP season is a 99 probably as well in the future. But the only one is 95, 96, Michael Jordan.
Well, you know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. So first of all, has anybody ever gotten 100? Number one. Anybody ever got 100? Nobody, right?
So the ratings used to be different where you could get 100. So Shaquille O'Neal is the only person that's ever got 100 in NBA 2K2.
Okay.
23 years ago.
If Michael Jordan was in his prime, would he have ever gotten 100?
I mean, he is the greatest of all time. I'm saying it right now.
Okay.
So
you're on. Wait a minute. So you're on the air.
Our ratings are.
You're on the air right now saying that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. You're on the air. You're on there right now on the Stephen A. Smith Show, confirming that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, not LeBron James.
Without question, Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. LeBron James might be the best player of all time. Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? Best. You know it.
What's the difference? Explain yourself. What's the difference?
The best player is the most athletically gifted and extending his career. The greatest is you watch the guy play, and there's no question in any era he would have been the greatest on the court. That killer instinct, taking over at the end of the game, Michael Jordan, 100%.
Right. I know that you talk about LeBron James and his athleticism and all this stuff, but I'm just saying, did you see the Last Dance? Did you see when John Sally sat up there and said the golden rule, you understand, for the Jordan rules was to attack him before he got airborne because you know he wasn't human, right? That's what John Sally said. So we just going to ignore that?
That doesn't happen in this era. They're all buddies. They all hang out. They're all like, they're not gonna hurt each other. They're not gonna attack each other in the air. It's a different league. Different league.
Last couple of questions. Last couple of questions before I let you go. Let's switch to the WNBA. We got Caitlin Clark. By the way, Kevin Durant deserved to be right up there with Steph Curry and LeBron James as well. But I digress. When you look at Caitlin Clark,
love Katie. Katie's my favorite player in the league. Yeah.
No. When you look at the WNBA, you had Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese tied at the beginning. Now you elevated Caitlin Clark to a 91 from a 90, put her above Angel Reese. What took you so long?
I know.
What took you so long?
Those ratings, especially in the offseason, don't get bumped up as much, right? So they play in the window that we're launching. Absolutely. Caitlin Clark, crazy. She's a walking triple-double all of a sudden. Ever since that Paris break, she has been totally unstoppable. So, that rating's only going to go up from there. But the only 99 in the game is right here. That's the MVP, A'ja Wilson. I agree with you, by the way, Stephen A. I saw you were saying that Caitlin should be in the MVP conversation. Forget Rookie of the Year, 100%. She's in the MVP conversation.
No question. She's in the MVP conversation. She's clearly the Rookie of the Year. But we all know there's only one A'ja Wilson. She's the monster in WNBA and women's basketball, period. I think she's the best in the business. My last question to you is something that a lot of folks in the audience was asking. It was like, how the hell did a guy who was supposed to be a lawyer become the face of 2K basketball?
To be honest, I'm not sure, Stephen A. It's been 17 years. I've loved working in and talking about basketball for a career and getting to work for this video game that I used to be a competitive player at. Our team is tremendous. We went from 1 million sales to being the lifestyle basketball brand of the world, and it's been such a fun ride. And we're only scratching the surface because basketball gives us so many opportunities. Right. Great, and I'm really excited about the future of the franchise.
Ronnie, I lied to you. I got 2 more quick questions for you because I just remembered.
I'll
Russell
hang out with you all day, whatever you want.
Russell Westbrook is not in your top 100? Ouch.
I was surprised. Surprised you hit me with that one earlier. I mean, it's tough. Like that top level of players now, that top 100 is, would you agree, better than it's ever been? Like we have so many.
Maybe. I just don't know.
It's crazy. What's that?
Maybe, but I can't put Russell Westbrook out of a top 100. I mean,
tough.
He plays too hard. He's too feisty. He's too powerful. He's too athletic. I can't ignore him from the top 100. I can't do that.
It was a tough decision, but you look at that top 100, you're like, man, I don't know who we'd replace with him. We're gonna have to look at it again and assess.
Last but not least, man, I thought we were boys, man. I thought we were cool. I see Jalen Brunson here at number 13, but I don't see Julius Randle anywhere, OG Anunoby anywhere. I don't see anybody else from the New York Knicks. Where's the New York Knicks love? Where's the New York Knicks love, man?
I think the Knicks are, obviously had a monster season last year, probably underrepresented in the top 100, but it's going to be a fun season, and they're going to make some noise. They got a lot of chip on their shoulder because of those 2K ratings not representing them as much as they should have. So I'm with you, Stephen A. You got to get on that campaign. I'm sorry to have disappointed.
I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to. I'm still worried about them because I still think the 2 best teams in the East is Boston and Philadelphia. Now that Philadelphia's got Paul George, if him and Embiid and Maxey are all healthy, look out, because I thought Maxey should have been higher on your list as well.
I think Philadelphia's going to win the championship, to be honest.
Oh, wow. If they're healthy, I don't disagree with you. If they're healthy. But we all know that's asking for a lot from Paul George and Joel Embiid. Ronnie, appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you being on the show. We'll talk soon.
Really appreciate the time, buddy.
No doubt, buddy. Same here. Same here. Coming up, I'll pick my WNBA Player of the Week, plus Angel Reese has a few words for Caitlin Clark fans. And I'll settle the age-old debate growing right up here in New York City. Who has the best pizza in the tri-state area? All of that is next, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Back with more in a minute. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. I gave you my playoff team selections earlier. Here are my predictions for the NFC and AFC championship games and which teams will play in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Remember, list is fluid. List is fluid, okay? We're going to get to that right now, right here. In the AFC, I said this before last night. I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, especially picking up Xavier Worthy, seeing Rashee Rice, knowing you got Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Isaiah Pacheco in the backfield. I'm looking at Kansas City, and I got them going up against Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Could be wrong, especially after I saw Baltimore last night. But I want to see Aaron Rodgers because this brother right here, people have been talking about him, counting him out, acting like they don't know who the hell he is. I'm telling you right now, Aaron Rodgers is something else, okay? I'm just telling you that right now. And with that being said, looking at it from that standpoint, I think the New York Jets with that defense are going to give themselves a chance. I think they'll be in the AFC Championship game against Kansas City. But I also think Kansas City's going to win. And Patrick Mahomes is going to go to his 5th Super Bowl, trying to win his 4th. In the NFC, I know we see the 49ers. If you're knocking on the door over the last 5 years, 4 trips to the conference finals, 2 trips to the Super Bowl, and you still don't have a Super Bowl championship, I got to give you one last chance. You still got C-Mac. You still got Debo and Kittles and Ayuk and all of these brothers. I got to give you another chance. But who are they going to go against? I wanted to say Detroit so badly. I really, really do. But with the Eagles picking up Saquon Barkley, with him being that security blanket for Jalen Hurts having A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert having one of the top offensive lines in football, I got to think that the Eagles, I know their defense is still a question mark. I just got to believe that the Eagles will find a way to get to the NFC Championship game and go to San Francisco, where they will lose to the 49ers. And it will be a trilogy. The San Francisco 49ers going up against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Except this time, Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and those bros, they finally fall. I know Brady beat him once when Patrick Mahomes didn't have an offensive line and he was running for his life most of the game. This is different. I see San Francisco, who was knocking on the door, who had a double-digit lead and blew it last year. I mean, how many double-digit leads in the Super Bowl can Kyle Shanahan blow? He blew a 25-point lead as the offensive coordinator in Atlanta. Blew a double-digit lead, not once but twice versus Kansas City. And now I believe, in this case, a fourth time is a charm. Third time against Kansas City. Fourth time overall Super Bowl. I think it's a charm. I'm picking the San Francisco 49ers to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and win it all. That's where I'm at with it. But it is fluid. It is fluid. Quick hitter number 2, WNBA Player of the Week. There have only been 40 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA. Cheryl Swoops recorded the first WNBA triple-double during the 1999 season, while Caitlin Clark logged the most recent triple-double earlier this week. Caitlin Clark became the first ever rookie in WNBA history to record a triple-double twice in the same season. In that game, Clark scored her 103-point shot this season, becoming just the 6th woman to do so and first in her rookie season. She now has 102 on the season and is 19 away from Diana Taurasi in second place and 26 away from UNESCO of the New York Liberty. My WNBA Player of the Week, surprise, surprise, Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. There's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Angel Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese, who has a new weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. It's part of Playmakers Network of podcasts from Shaquille O'Neal. On the debut episode, co-host Maya Reese, who is Angel's cousin, asked her to address her feelings about rival Indiana Fever's Caitlin Clark and the Fever's fan base. Take a look at what Angel Reese had to say about that. Quote, Caitlin Clark fans, they're Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans, I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any of that. But when it comes to death threats, like I'm talking about people who have come down to my address, following me home, multiple occasions, people have made AI pictures of me naked, literally. They've sent it to my family members. It sucks to see that. And it's really hard that I have to go through that. End quote. If Angel Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable. It's egregious, it's disgusting, it's wrong, and there's a bunch of punk, no good, you know what's out there on the male and female side who are abusive because they're really, really good at being that way when they're behind keyboards and away from cameras and out of the spotlight where people know exactly who the hell they are. The only reason that I brought up the first part about Angel Reese is this. Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, et cetera, et cetera. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not, they don't like seeing somebody black coming at somebody white who is a beloved star of theirs. That's not the case with all. It's not the case with most. But those who screech the loudest get the most attention sometimes. And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You're at an advantage. As for the Caitlin Clark fans she was alluding to, she ain't lying. It's not all, it's not most. A lot of them are fun-loving. A lot of them are great fans. A lot of them are great, great people. But some of them are racist. Some of them don't want Angel Reese to be the one coming at her, and they use ethnicity as the rationale behind it. Again, very few compared to the many who wouldn't do that. But it is that kind of hate. I've seen it for years. I saw it when Allen Iverson was playing, and I was covering him every day. They saw it when Michael Jordan was on the come up. LeBron James, need I remind y'all, had racial epithets spray painted on his home in Brentwood, California, just a few years ago. This ain't new. We want to act like it's new. We want to act like we're this race-less society, that people ain't thinking about that. Most decent, God-fearing, loving people ain't thinking like that. But there's quite enough people who are far from that, who live on that kind of vitriol and hatred. And some of them, not most, not all, some of them have been Caitlin Clark fans coming at Angel Reese. All she stated was the obvious. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Last but not least, quick hitter number 4 goes to National Cheese Pizza Day, which was earlier this week. Why do I bring this up? Because former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio took to X, where he can be seen sprinkling a bag of shaved coconut on a slice of cheese pizza and then eating it, okay? Then eating it, crust first. Social media went crazy with comments, including New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy, who responded. Take a look at this.
Hey folks, Governor Phil Murphy from New Jersey here. It's National Cheese Pizza Day. Now you might have noticed that there's some confusion about where the country's and the world's best pizza is. These guys in Connecticut claim something which is, I don't get at all. We all know it's in Jersey. Now how do we know? You know how they eat their pizza in Connecticut? You can look it up. This is how they eat it. They cut the damn pizza. Are you kidding me? We're from Jersey, baby, and they're not. Happy Cheese Pizza Day.
We can laugh at stuff like that. Here's the problem. I've never been a fan of Bill de Blasio. I don't like the way he governed New York. I've never been a fan. I think one of the most appalling things I ever saw was him running for president. You couldn't even run New York. What the hell are you trying to run the country for? And then to embarrass us even further. Ladies and gentlemen, New Yorkers don't eat pizza like that. We usually eat the tip first, not the damn crust. And we don't pour all of that stuff on the pizza either. You know why? Because the pizza itself, fresh out of the oven, coconut. Listen, the pizza coming out of the oven is good enough. We don't need no damn coconuts. He just revealed he ain't really no damn New Yorker, the rest of us. We don't eat pizza like that. As for you, Phil Murphy, I respect you, sir. You're the governor of New Jersey. And I want to respect our public servants. But I ain't that damn fond of you either with them damn taxes you charge in New Jersey. It's higher than New York. It's higher than New York. And by the way, we gonna sit here and tell the truth. New York and New Jersey, it ain't really no different because everybody's vacillating back and forth between the two spots anyway, even though you got to go through the Lincoln, the George Washington Bridge, or the Holland Tunnel to do it. Here's the reality. When it comes to New York and New Jersey specifically, it ain't about the state. It's about the individual. The individual and how they make their pizza at their respective pizza shop is what determines how delicious it is or is not. Not the state. And by the way, with the taxes y'all both charge, you probably compromise the taste because people can't do what they normally want to do to put their best foot forward because they're too busy trying to save a buck because you're taking too much damn money out of their pockets. I would know because I just moved out of the damn city and the state, both of them, because of what the hell we dealing with. I'm getting on out of here for the weekend. I can't wait for NFL Sunday to begin. I can't wait to be back here with y'all on Monday. By the way, just a heads up, coming this Monday, my guest will be Hall of Fame wide receiver Chris Carter. You'll see him Monday. I'll let you decide whether you want to see him every Monday. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know. But he's my boy. And that brother's brilliant when it comes to football. And he's got the credentials to speak on it. He'll be joining me on Monday to discuss NFL Week 1. Don't miss it. Until then, this is Stephen A. signing off. Peace and love, everybody. Talk to you later.